Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. So today, bit of an experiment. What I thought I'd do is I'm going to imagine that I lost all my pens and someone came along and said, Gary, here's 500 Aussie dollars to go and buy some fountain pens. So what I'm going to do is explore which pens would I rebuy if I was given a $500 budget. So join me now down on the table and we'll take a look at these pens. Welcome down to the table. So I've been given 500 Aussie dollars to replace the pens that somehow magically disappeared. What pens am I going to choose and why? The notepad I'm going to be using, this is Oxford Optic paper, 90 GSM paper, and it's a B5 notebook. So the first pen that I would buy is the most expensive of today's pens. This is the Pilot E95S, some places called the Pilot Elite. It's a large pocket pen. Very nice looking pen. Got a burgundy colour here. We've got what they call champagne. I don't think it's champagne, but it looks nice together. The pen, unposted, you can actually use it maybe for a sentence or two. Posted is an exceptionally nice pen to write with. This is a cartridge converter. I use a cartridge. What I do when I'm using this is I just refill the cartridge with a blunt nose syringe. When I've finished using it, give it a good clean out with clean water. The nib on here, it's a gold nib, my only gold nib. This pen is actually my cheapest non-Chinese gold nibbed pen. So here we can see this 14 karat gold, and this is an embedded nib. Very pretty to look at, very nice to write with, very nice to hold. So we've got a Pilot Elite or E95S. It's got a medium 14 karat gold nib. The price for this pen, 215 Aussie dollars. That's priced up from Pulp Addiction here in Australia. The ink is by Diamine. And it's Red Robin. My total spend so far is the first pen, so my total spend is 215 Aussie dollars. Really nice pen, very enjoyable. So that's my Pilot pen. One of the things I'm doing this selection, I'm only having one pen per manufacturer as well. My second pen, I'm going to go to Taiwan for this pen, so we're going from a Japanese pen to a Taiwanese pen. I decided to go for the TWSBI Diamond 580. I did think about the Eco, which is a cheaper pen, but I thought I actually like the 580. It's got a little bit more weight. It's got a larger ink capacity. And I believe it's got larger nibs. Here's the nib on here. This is a broad nib. Dead easy to swap these nibs. You can unscrew the unit and buy a completely new unit. That's what I did with this. When I bought it with a fine nib. Didn't like the nib because my tastes evolved, so I now prefer broads. So I just bought a broad nib unit and slotted it in. This is a piston filling pen. Obviously, I'm not going to work the mechanism. You can see it there. I love the fact that this is transparent. I love demonstrator pens. If we look on the body here, hopefully you can see the facets shining in the light. So there's a bit of visual interest as well. Even down to the section being transparent, I love that. Nice length. I do find sometimes it's a little bit on the thin side, but not unusably so. So we've got here a TWSBI Diamond 580. And it's a broad nib. It's a steel nib. The rest of today's pens, they're all steel nibbed. Again, I priced it up from Pulp Addiction, and the price they had was $94.95. The ink by Diamine, and it's Tranquility. This is a lot darker than what I was seeing on my swatches. It's the first time I've had this ink in a pen. I actually quite like this. It's a nice, like a dark, dusty, pinky purple colour. My total spend so far, though, is $309,309, and just checking my notes, 95 cents. That 95 cents important, isn't it? Again, an enjoyable pen, so it gives me some flexibility. It's got that piston, so we get the larger ink capacity. Dead easy to clean as well. You know, most piston pens you have to keep going and going. With this one, just unscrew that nib unit and you can use a blunt nose syringe. Very easy to clean. So that's that TWSBI Diamine 580. Let's move the page up ever so slightly. We'll leave the top two pens on at the moment. The next pen, we're going to Germany and we're going for the Kaweco Sport. This is in the solid green colour. It's a pocket pen, smaller than that E95S. There they are compared to each other. Let me just move this down so it's better in frame. There we go. Plastic pen, very light pen. If I unscrew the cap, I'm not going to take it off completely. We've got a fairly long body on here. Unscrewing that, I've actually got a Kaweco converter. It does come with a cartridge and you have to buy this converter extra. I bought it to try it out. I've got to be honest, it's next to useless. Doesn't hold very much ink at all. But saying that, by using the converter, I can change the ink more often. In my other 580, when I use it with a cartridge that I refill similar to the E95S. One of my other Kawecos, I know I said 580, it's a Kaweco Sport. One of my other ones is slightly transparent, so I actually eyedropper that. Because everything's plastic, really easy to eyedropper it. What I just do is every so often put a little bit of silicone grease here around the threads just to help with the seal. The nib on here, the Kaweco nib, fairly small looking. There we go. Don't let that put you off though, because it writes beautifully. When it's unposted, yes, it's a bit on the short side, a bit light. It's designed to be posted. It's a pocket pen. Posted, very, very nice to use. So we've got here a Kaweco Sport. Just going to slightly agitate it whilst I'm talking. This is a broad nib. Why I'm agitating it is the ink in here is a shimmer ink. Again, I priced this up from Pulp Addiction and it was priced at $58.95. The ink, I say it's a shimmer, it's by Diamine. And it's merry and bright. Beautiful green coloured ink this. I like green. And I think even though this is a darker green, I think they really work well together. So my total spend so far is $368.90, which means I've got $131.10 left. So that's my Kaweco Sport. Just dropping in to interrupt your regular programming. Would you like to help support the channel? If so, please consider joining as a member. As a member, you'll get early access to my videos. I normally upload them a couple of days before they go out, and as soon as they're uploaded, they'll be released to members. There'll also be a shout out at the end of the videos, and then as we get the members coming in, we'll actually chat among ourselves and work out what other perks, what other things you'd like me to add in. You know, would you like maybe a monthly live chat just for members? All down to us. So please, if you can, consider joining the channel. A link will be in the description down below. All the remaining pens, they're Chinese pens. Now, some can be hit and miss. Sometimes you get really nice ones. I've heard people telling horror stories about how bad the ones they got were. All I can say is I've got about 100 Chinese pens and I've only really had one that I had problems with. So take that on its own merits. We'll move the page up again slightly. So the next pen. This is by Majohn, or Moonman. So originally the company was Moonman. It got renamed to Majohn, and this is the M800. This is the purple version. There's 4 colours in this range. There's this purple, there's blue, there's green, and there's amber. I've got all 4 of them. I really like this pen. Again, I'm just slightly agitating, although it's not a shimmer. I love this purple colour. Let's just look at this patterning on here. Very nice visual interest. The pen itself, yes, it is very highly inspired by the Leonardo Momento Zero line. But again, that's down to you if you don't mind that. It's not an exact copy, there are some differences. One of them being this. This is a cartridge converter. Does come with a converter. Metal fittings, so not really something you could think about eyedroppering. The nib on here, this is a Bock nib. It's a fine nib. These pens, you've got two choices. You can either get the Moonman nib, again a fine one, or you can pay a little bit extra to get the Bock. So what I did is I've got two Bock and I've got two Moonman nibs. To be honest, they both write the same, and if I was to buy again, I would only buy a Moonman nib. Now, yes, I know I'm going to write with the Bock one, but the price I've put is for a Moonman nib. So this is the Majohn M800. So it's a fine nib and it's Bock. The price for this, so all these Chinese pens I priced up on AliExpress. $38.09, not 90. Not going very well, am I, with my writing today? The ink by Diamine. So by Diamine, and this is Harmony. Nice purple ink here. Again, fairly dark colour. The running total now. We've crossed over that $400 mark, so we're up to $406.24. So we've got less than $100 left to go. So this is the Majohn M800. Staying with China, I say the rest of the pens are all Chinese. This is a Jinhao pen. This is the Jinhao 100 Centennial. This colour is called Deep Sea Blue. There's loads of different colours. One of the nice things about the 100s, loads of different choices of colours. I quite like this. I've got a number of Jinhao 100s. They really are one of my favourite Chinese pens. This one, cartridge converter, again, comes with that converter. Most Chinese pens come with a converter. I've had a couple which didn't. The section and the end finials are black. I like that. I like the shape of the section. My fingers sit quite nicely on there, and they just rest on this lip at the bottom. The nib, this is a Jinhao nib. Number 6 size nib, so it's very easy to change the nibs. A couple of my other 100s, I've changed the nib and I've put on Goulet nibs. So I've got one with a medium, one with a broad. But this is a Jinhao medium nib. Two-tone, I do like that. To me, adds a little bit of visual interest. In the hand, I say, comfortable for my fingers, just the right size. So we've got here a Jinhao 100 Centennial. Got to make sure I write it properly. The nib, I say, is medium. Price for this pen, $21.25. So fairly reasonable. And the running the ink, I was going to give you the running total. I was getting out of order. So the ink, it's by Pure Pens. This is a Welsh company, and it's called Celtic or Celtic Sea. Now I can give you the running total, which is $428.24. So we've still got $71.76 left to go. This is the Jinhao 100 Centennial. So reposition the paper. My next pen from PenBBS. This is the PenBBS 323. This is actually an aluminium version. There is a resin version available as well. I love the colour of this. It's like a mocha colour. Beautiful brown colour. I love the shape. So from the cap, we're coming out and then we start to go in. Then out and in. A little bit like waves. Really nice. So it's aluminium. Today it's a fairly cool day here. It's currently 10 degrees Celsius. This does feel cool to touch. So that's one thing with metal pens. Whereas the resin pens, they always seem a little bit warmer, certainly in the cold weather. Cartridge converter, again, came with that converter. The section, continuing with that same colouring. The nib on here, this isn't the nib it came with. So it came with a PenBBS nib, which was a fine nib. One of the things I don't like about PenBBS pens, very limited choice of nibs. What I've done is I've actually swapped it. So I've got a Yoho nib sold by Goulet, so branded Goulet. This is a broad nib. Beautiful combo though. Dead easy to swap. You just literally pull the feed and the nib out, put the new nib on and slot it back in. Took me all of about 30 seconds. So this is a PenBBS. Just look at this gorgeous broad line. 323. It's a broad nib. The price for this pen is $45.19. I believe the resin versions are a little bit cheaper, not 100% certain on that because I didn't check the prices of those. The ink is by Diamine and it's Pick Me Up. This is a scented ink, so it's got a very sweet, a bit sickly coffee type smell. Does wear fairly quickly. It's a gorgeous brown ink, but then we've got hints of like a gorgeous green shimmer to it. I'm not sure if the camera will pick that up. Just lift this up and see. So you can see there the green coming through, but the base colour is a brown. Our running total though is $473 and 43 cents. That 43 cents, very important, isn't it? So that's the PenBBS 323. I'm really getting a smell after lifting that up of that real sweet coffee at the moment. So that'll go away in a minute or two. And we can see more of the green developing, or certainly I can. One more pen. I've only got $26.57 left. So my final pen by Kaigelu. This is a Kaigelu 316. Very, very similar to the Jinhao 100. I do have a video on my channel comparing them. I love the shape. I love the pattern of these. This is in the aloe colour, so it's like a pale green. We've got some whites in there, some darker greens. Slightly translucent, very nice. Black finials. Again, it's a cartridge converter. There we go. Pop this back together. We've got that black section. It's a little bit different than the section on the 100. Got that gold here around the bottom. But again, very similar in size, very similar in shape, very similar in weight. Number 6 nib again. This is the Kaigelu nib. I've not bothered changing this. I quite like the nib on here. It's a really generous nib. So this is the Kaigelu 316. Now there is also a 316A. This is the 316 model. The 316A, instead of having the black parts, they're the same colour as the body. It's a medium nib. Price wise for this is $22.52. Now with all my prices, they're not including postage. Because postage varies depending on country, that's why I just exclude that. The ink by Diamine, and it's Alpine. Very nice ink, very nice colour. Again, I think it's a nice match for this, which gives me a running total of $495.95. That leaves me with a balance of $4.05. With that $4.05, because one of my rules is I can only have one pen from each manufacturer, that's why I've not included it. But with that $4, I would have bought 2 Jinhao 992s. They're roughly $2 each, so I would have just used up that money to leave me with about 5 cents. So let's swap over and take one final look at the pens. So the pens we've got the Pilot E95S. We've got the TWSBI Diamond 580, a Kaweco Sport, a Moonman M800, a Jinhao 100, a PenBBS 323, and a Kaigelu 316. This was a fun video to make. I really enjoyed doing it. I hope you enjoyed watching it as well. So over to you. If you were given a budget equivalent to $500, so maybe $500 or whatever your local currency is, which pens that you currently have would you rebuy? And I try to limit it to pens that I currently have. Why not drop your list down in the comments? I'd love to know what you're thinking. Please hit the thumbs up button every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.